Hey, Smugglings, what is happening? This is going to be the review for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, you may have seen that I'm experimenting with different styles in the reviews. Some videos are more edited in the way that I'm just pressing pause on the record and then resuming it. So that is what is happening with some videos, and then some videos are more casual, and I am just doing it off the cuff and not really editing it at all. And this is going to be one of the ones that is more casual, not really edited. So I'm going to do that, but I am experimenting with different styles, see how I feel with it, and we'll get better in time. We will get better in time. So it's just a matter of experimentation right now to see what feels the best, quite honestly. So that is what we're going to do with that. And this one is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, directed by David Yates and starring Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Gary Oldman, Michael Gambon, and the amazing cast that we regularly get for this franchise. So, got a lot of great actors in this particular film. And this is Harry's fifth year at Hogwarts. Harry experiences an attack in Little Whinging, the home of the Dursleys, and we get a Dementor attack. And Harry protects Dudley. I don't know why he does it, but he feels the need to protect Dudley, casts the Patronus towards the Dementor to protect his cousin, and he's cast underage magic. And he can't be doing that outside of school grounds. So he's called before the Ministry to answer for his crimes, as he's been told that he's been expelled from Hogwarts. And Dumbledore's having none of that. So Dumbledore makes a surprise cameo at the trial and defends Harry, his protege, and leaves without a word. And this film deals a lot with the fact that Voldemort is back at the end of the Goblet of Fire, and the Ministry doesn't want to believe it, even though Harry's experienced this. He saw a friend die at the hand of Voldemort and his band of Death Eaters, but the Ministry doesn't want to believe it. So Harry's gonna have to convince everyone that Voldemort is coming back, and Dumbledore's building an army. So he's got the Order of the Phoenix, which is comprised of various members that we've seen before, such as Sirius Black, Mad-Eye Moody, Lupin, Snape, got a lot of esteemed members and friends of Dumbledore within the Order of the Phoenix, and they're ordering the army of Dumbledore to be built up. And Harry volunteers, saying, "I want to fight in this battle. I want to be a part of this thing," and takes it on himself to train up as many people as possible to be able to fight against the Death Eaters that are inevitably going to come. And absolutely love this movie. Like, it's another one that I really adore, and this is where the films incrementally get better, I feel like, and they start to get a lot more mature, a lot darker. We don't get the standard structure that we've gotten before, and this is probably the most serious Harry Potter film, possibly. The Deathly Hallows films are quite serious as well, but this film is very earnest, and it deals with a lot of mature themes in this one because Harry is really feeling the similarities to Voldemort, and Voldemort is in his head more than ever in this film, and we're seeing that manifest itself visually, and it's very psychological in the way that's shown. And David Yates is an absolutely amazing director. I love David Yates as a director, and he directs the concluding entries of the Harry Potter series because he makes the last four films in the series, and I really think he does a great job here. I love the style he brings to the series. He brings a lot of independent film sensibility to the series. He focuses on the characters a lot more. It's very much a character-driven story. We get to see Harry's perspective within the film, and especially love the dream sequences where we see a POV of Harry as the snake attacking Arthur Weasley at the Ministry, and There's a lot of really inventive shots here, a lot more handheld shots. It feels like there's a lot more of a variation in the camera styles, and I do like that quite a bit. And he does a great job here. Like I said, I really do love David Yates and what he brought to the Harry Potter series. And this is another one that's really emotional, and I'd say this is not action-packed like the previous entry, like Goblet of Fire. I'd say a lot of people may get bored with this film. It's a very much a slow burn, and the majority of the film is Harry under the thumb of the Ministry and the Ministry infiltrating Hogwarts and really ordering this regime on the students and forcing them to comply to standards. And it's very fascist, very reminiscent of that thing that happened in the 1940s with a particular country, and it's something that is very mature that it brought that into the film, and I love the parallel to that particular thing that happened in the 40s, and I thought it was very smart to do that, and they made a great play at really replicating that particular event, and I think they did a great job here. And like I said, very earnest film. Harry's building up the army, and he's teaching the students, and this is something that really isolates Harry is that he is the only one that's really seen Voldemort come back, but his friends believe him, but the surrounding students do not believe him, and he's dealing with that mistrust from them and that suspicion from them because they don't want to believe it because it means that the world is going to be a lot more dangerous if he's here, and nobody wants to believe that the world is worse than it was. So people are really reluctant to believe that Voldemort has returned to the Wizarding World, and there's a lot of paranoia in this one as well. And we do really focus in on the characters here, particularly with certain characters like Snape and Sirius Black and James Potter. We get to see James Potter, Sirius, and Lupin and Peter Pettigrew at school, and this sort of band that really bullied Snape as a young boy, and I love that sequence. There's a sequence that really stood out to me when I was watching as a kid, and you saw that Snape was actually being bullied by Harry Potter's parents and his friends, and it gave you a new perspective on Snape as to why he is the way he is, and it really made you understand him a lot more than we did previously. So I did like that reveal of his backstory quite a lot, and then, like I said, we get the perspective of Harry quite a lot in his dream sequences as well, and I like that quite a bit. And the big action sequence is really at the end when we go to the Ministry of Magic and we get to see that Harry and Sirius are working together to fight off against the Death Eaters that are there because they've been lured into a trap. And Harry believed that Sirius was being held captive at the Ministry, which he was not. But he wanted to go anyway. He would have gone whether it was a trap or not because he wanted to save his only remaining family member, Sirius. And he goes there to get Sirius back if he can. And this is where the main action sequence of the film takes place, where we're in the Ministry and we're fighting off against the Death Eaters, and it's really cool to see this big battle between auras and Death Eaters. It's like seeing the battle with the Jedis and the droids in Attack of the Clones, and it reminded me of that quite a lot because you get to see finally a big battle with capable wizards fighting off against each other, which is really cool and very cool sequence. And I did like that quite a lot. But obviously, in this sequence, we get the death of Sirius Black, which was very sad and very emotional and really well done, really well shot, and love the way that Harry's voice is drowned out by the music. You don't hear Harry's screams of agony as Sirius is being taken away from him, and it's really well done, and it makes you feel for Harry quite a lot and gets into his head. And I think the audio and the visual language really make you feel as though you're with the characters in a lot of sequences in this film, and I did really like that quite a lot. And some of the characters we usually see quite a lot, we don't see that much because Dumbledore is distancing himself from Harry in order to protect him, and Hagrid, sorry, is away trying to get the aid of the Giants to become a part of Dumbledore's army. So we don't really see a lot of the main cast members that we usually do in this film. And I will say a lot of the humor in the film is coming from Dolores Umbridge, the Inquisitor from the Ministry that is infiltrating Hogwarts and maintaining order within the school. And even though there's some very serious scenes where she is being a bitch, really, and she is doing that, but she's basically just tidying everything up with the students, and she's basically tucking their shirts if the shirts are untucked. If they're kissing, put a spell on them to make them be apart from each other, and it's all this shit that she's doing, and some of it is quite amusing, and I did like that quite a lot, and that's really the main bit of humor that you see in the film. But it's not really an eventful film. It's not really an eventful story if you're really looking at it. If you're looking at the book of Order of the Phoenix, which I think is my favorite book in the series, actually, I did love Order of the Phoenix as a book, and it's this middle chapter almost. It's this chapter of The Empire Strikes Back where you're sort of just trying to establish a means of defense against the threat, and that's what this film is. It's about establishing the means of defense, which is Dumbledore's armies, training the students, training the wizards in order to be able to fight this great threat, and that's what the movie is about. And it's really great. I really love this movie, and I love the climactic battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort as well. I thought that was really well done, and it's really cool to see that. And that's actually akin to seeing Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fighting off against each other. And I thought that was a really cool sequence there. And no music in that sequence as well, which I loved. I loved the fact that a lot of these big action sequences don't have the music. If there's an event that's very important in the film, it usually doesn't have music, and the effects do the speaking to the audience, and it's really effective that way. And just hear Voldemort screams, "Yeah," and he just has his big screams like that, and love that. I love the effects that you really hear them, and the sound design is amazing when you can hear the screams of agony and the shouts and the war cries within the battle, and I like that quite a lot. So yeah, Order of the Phoenix I love, and it's one of the Potter films that got the worst reception, I'd say. I think it might be the actual lowest rated Potter film, which is crazy to me because it's one of my favorites, and I think it's a really great film. A slow burn. It's not like Goblet of Fire at all. Really, it's very different from that film, and there's not this big event that's happening in Hogwarts. There's not this Goblet of Fire, and I really did like the establishing of Dumbledore's army, the development of the relationships between the characters, the reveals of the characters, and the spending time with the characters is very much building up the characters in this film, and you get to learn more about the characters, which I did like. And it's a very good film, very great film, and an underrated entry in the Harry Potter series. But it made a lot of money, though. I have to say, I think it was the second highest grossing Harry Potter film at the time, like well over $900 million, which is an amazing achievement. And that's something I want to mention as well. It's like these Harry Potter films were making 800 to $900 million in succession, which you would not get nowadays. I can't see that happening for a long time, where you get following entries in a series getting $900 million each. I don't think that's possible, quite honestly, because you look at some of the biggest franchises now, like Marvel, they struggle to get past $500 million sometimes, even though they were at the top a couple of years ago. They are a far cry from where they once were, but that looks to be turning around because Deadpool and Wolverine was a massive success and that made well over $1 billion. So we'll see what happens there. But it's really interesting to see the way that Harry Potter really was this massive event that everyone was excited for and took over the world like very few films will ever do in the same way. And it's really cool to see, quite honestly. And that's it, guys. That's my thoughts on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Great film, loved it. And we'll get more into a lighter film next, which is Half-Blood Prince. Very much a lighter affair than Order of the Phoenix. So that's going to be interesting to see again. So very much appreciate you watching, guys, and I will catch you soon, smuggling. So you guys take care, and I will catch you soon.